Hi everyone, I'm here with Mustafa, one of our students, current students at the time, and we're going to be interviewing him and asking him a few questions. Hi Mustafa, how are you doing today?
Hello, Emma. Everything's great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you for asking. Now, what are two things that you learned during your time at Chicago Telerad?
I really love my time at Chicago Telerad because it's giving me a flavor of how the radiology process is working. I've never had exposure to radiology in my medical school, so I'm really enjoying being in a working setting and seeing how everything is done. Also, I love that I get to understand different imaging modalities, what are their limitations. So I feel I'm gaining knowledge that would be even useful for me if whatever specialty I pursue because I'm getting more understanding on how radiologists work and how what could be seen on different imagings. So I think it would be something that would be very useful for my clinical abilities moving forward, even if I do radiology or something else at any point.
I agree. It's nice to have that knowledge overall. Now, how was your experience working with Dr. Sami, Dr. Linder, and the whole rest of our team here at Chicago Telerad?
It was very beautiful, honestly, because as I told you, this was my first encounter with radiology, and as anything new, it could be maybe overwhelming on the first day or the second day. But I loved all the support that I gained. Everyone was very helpful, and everyone was explaining everything to me very thoroughly, and always ready to take my questions. I've had a lot of help from Rhonda at my points of. At the start when I was trying to understand even the basics of the software and so on. Dr. Sami is an amazing doctor. He's kind of astonishing how he goes through the imagings and easily can find what he's looking for. And I'm very impressed with his amazing memory. So it's always good to look at someone who is kind of an ideal to someone that you would look forward to be like at some point. So yeah, that's what I really enjoyed the sessions with Dr. Sami, and they Dr. Sami kind of it's like how you would learn swimming if you're immersed in water and then you start to learn. You're like already within the waters, and you learn to swim that way. And I think it's a good way to learn, honestly, because it pushes you to be better and much more. I would say much more efficient in less time. Yes. And on the other hand, Dr. Linder's, I really like how Dr. Linder's is usually more calmer and would give you the sense that, okay, maybe you've been through a fast week. Now we could like take a little bit of rest. And so I really like that other flavor. And I like how there's this mix between the two. So you would be in a different setting every week and you're seeing different ways of doing radiology. And yes, it's beautiful. Honestly, I really love it.
That's so great to hear. That's really great to hear. Now, how did you find the convenience of working of the virtual teleradiology US clinical experience?
Well, it's definitely a really good deal because here's the thing: for people like me, I'm an international medical graduate, and right now I'm in Cairo, Egypt. So it definitely saves a lot of money in terms of travel expenses and visa expenses and accommodation and so on. And it gives you a very, I would say, even a typical, an identical experience to what you would see if you're in person. And on the other hand, uh, it's also good that you see I think one of the most exciting aspects of radiology and maybe newly psychiatry is the telemedicine aspect where you would be looking forward to maybe this is a really nice career at some point. So it's enjoyable to actually get a flavor of that early on. Also for me it's the I thought it would be challenging at first because of the time difference. But again, I just know, and I think maybe people who would have a huge time difference and a daytime job would be thinking, oh, maybe this is not doable. But what I really found is that it's very doable, and it's easy to do, and especially because everyone here is helpful. So when I'm having troubles with organizing things around, there's always a way to work things around. When you ask for help, yeah. So it's very easy and it's accessible and enjoy for it. And I think it's really like the real deal. I think it's just like the real deal. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it definitely takes some adjusting, but everyone's super accommodating, and we like to make it a very enjoyable
Mhm.
experience for everybody. So, um, yeah, that's awesome. Now, how would you rate this externship on a scale of 1 to 10?
A 10, a solid 10. Yes.
That's great. Great to hear. Now, was the value of this externship worth the price that you paid for it?
Yes, definitely. Yes, yes. I think I've seen many options before, and I know what people usually charge for a similar experience, and I think this is really great value for money, and it's one of the very few things that I joined that accurately follows the description on the website. You get what you paid for, so I think that is very satisfying. Yes.
Which is huge because a lot of the times you get that false advertisement for what you're paying for and kind of a
Yes, exactly. And you'd feel very disappointed once you notice that this is not what you've been waiting for. Yes.
expect one thing and you get another. So yeah, of course.
Uh-huh.
Really great to hear. Now, what would you say to your colleagues who are considering this teleradiology externship to gain the U.S. clinical experience?
I'd, I'd, I'd like to encourage them to take it through Chicago Telerad because it gives you the full experience. You see everything, honestly. You see how the software is being used. You even hear, you even join in when Dr. Sami and Rhonda or Dr. Linder, they're calling someone from the hospital, and you can hear the conversation going on and what they're ordering for the patient, or if it's an urgent case, you see them giving them notes on what to do to this patient. I think it's very similar to an office setting. I've been in an office setting before, and the only difference is that I didn't have to pay for accommodation and flight for this one. That's the only difference. But I feel I'm going through the same through the same thing. Yes, it's perfect. No, I think it's even a much smarter option. Yes.
Yeah, well, and you definitely get to see every aspect of it, from how we do it, like you said, in those emergent cases, in an average
Mhm.
case, the slow times, the busy times. So you get all
Mhm.
those real-time aspects.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for answering a couple questions for me. I will,
It's my pleasure.
yeah, it was great talking to you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.